right, we're about 30 seconds away, people. What's going on, Saskali? Good to see you this morning, my friend. Hey y'all, what's happening? Happy Monday. Happy Monday to ya. Welcome to another Monday Mindset Movement. I'm your man, Robert Kennedy III, RK3. That's me. Monday Mindset Movement is 15 to 20 minutes of motivation, inspiration, and elevation designed to get you rocking and rolling through your week. Hey, yeah. So glad that y'all are here. Saskali, Nathalie, Greg, Petsy Lav, good to see you this morning. Anna Mola, good to see you this morning. Lou Matthews, good to see you this morning. Judith Schneidman, good to see you this morning. So glad that y'all are here on this here Monday morning. Do me a favor, if you want to know when we're going live, if you want to go live with us, just go ahead and text "Go Live" to 24055 story. Go ahead and text "Go Live" to 240-557-8679. I'll pop that up on the screen in just a few moments. But here's my question for you this morning. What takes your attention? What takes your attention? Hey, Joseph Taluska, good to see you this morning. What takes your attention? What keeps you from being your most productive, most successful version of yourself? Listen, let's talk about that this morning. How about this? Let's go. All right, y'all. Welcome. I'm so glad you're here. Oh my gosh, I'm getting people on Instagram saying it's chopping. So sorry about that, Instagram people. Let's turn the music off and hopefully you'll just get the audio. Hey, Nathalie, good to see you this morning. All right, so do me a favor. If you are wanting to get connected with us, look at the scroller below. Just do me a favor. Text "Go Live" to 240-55 story 240-557-8679. And y'all, if you are a real estate agent and you want to get connected with us, if you are looking to get better on video, you want to figure out how to tell your story better on video, you want to get more what's the word that I'm looking for, more proficient at showing up with confidence on video, then join us for our video story boot camp. You can go to rk3live.com/VSB beta. All right, rk3live.com/VSB beta. All right, do me a favor. Let's jump in today. So I really want to talk about this thing. I want to talk about this thing called focus. So let me ask you this question. Have you ever wondered how some people seem to get so much done, right? At least that's how you see it. There's some people in your world and they look like they've got all of these different things happening in their space. And you're like, my gosh, how do they get so much done? I feel like so unproductive next to those people, right? And then maybe there are other people who seem like they get a lot done, but it's in one area. It's like they get they're able to sit and they lock in into these things. And so you might even think about some of those people who are, I don't know, we call them professional multitaskers, right? They're the wonderkind project managers. Those are the people, it seems like they're able to juggle all of these things at once. They have all of these balls or knives or flamethrowers in the air, and they're able to toss them all around, and they're able to handle all of them. It seems like that. Online, it looks like that. And then maybe there are these people that just are able to lock in. I remember reading this book several years ago called Principles by Ray Dalio. And man, that's a big book. That's a big old book. It's a huge book. It's not one of those books that's like 40 or 90 pages. This book is like a good 600 pages, right? And my thought process when I saw how big this book was my gosh, how does one person find the time to sit down and focus and write this book or get their ideas together around this one book? That's a lot. How does anybody find the time to do that? Let's look at today's quote. I want to really point to this quote. There's this book by Cal Newport called Deep Work, and he says, "Who you are, what you think, what you feel, what you do, what you love is the sum of what you focus on." Who you are, what you think, what you feel, what you do, what you love is the sum focus of what you focus on. What does that even mean? If you are distracted, then that's who you are. If you're focused on 500 different things, then that's who you are. If you're not getting a lot of things done because you keep jumping from thing to thing, then that's who you are. So you wonder why some people get known for one thing. If I were to say the name LeBron James, you would say basketball. King James, that's what he's known for. Why is he known for that? If I were to say the name Michael Jackson, you would know Michael Jackson for one thing. Why is Michael Jackson known for that? If I were to say the name J.K. Rowling, you would know that name. Why would you know that name? If I were to say the name Denzel Washington, why would you know that name? Right? Outside of being elected to political office, outside of being elected to certain offices, we know the names of some people because they were dedicated and focused in that one space and that one area. Right? There people are able to make impact, even greater impact, because they're focused in one specific area. The great majority of their lives, Errol, Samuel, thanks for joining us this morning. The great majority of their lives are focused in one specific area. That's why we know them. Right? So if let's turn that back to ourselves for a moment. If people were to think about who we are, if I were to ask somebody, or you were to ask somebody, okay, who is Robert Kennedy III, RK3? What would they say? If you were to ask somebody, who is Joseph Taluska? What would they say? If you were to ask somebody, who is Judith Schneidman? Who is Errol Samuel? Who is Nathalie Gregg? What would they say? For the most part, people are going to repeat the thing that they see you do repeatedly, or the thing that they assume to be your focus, the thing that they see as that singular area that you show up in all the time. And whether we know it or not, the way that we show up, where we show up, it tends to be the area of our focus. So the question then is, what is it that you are focused on, or what is it that you want to be focused on? I got to tell you, if I think about my business, for example. I remember that when early on in my business, I used to take engagements, I used to take gigs at any time, right? If you gave me a gig on Tuesday, I was going to take it. If you gave me a gig on Friday, I was going to take it. If you gave me a gig on Monday, I was going to take it. If you gave me a gig on Tuesday, was going to take it. If you gave me a gig on Sunday, I was going to take it. Why? Because I was focused on just getting the money for the gig. But when I sat down and I thought about it, what I really ultimately wanted was growth in my business. And the funny thing about it, the more that you work, the more that you do fill up your time in business, is the less time that you have to be strategic in your operation. And so I made a decision that was crucial for my business. I made a decision that I was not going to accept any gigs, any work on Mondays. Mondays were going to be my strategic day. And I was scared to do that because I was like, oh my gosh, you're giving up money, you're giving up cash, you're giving up a check. Right? Hey, PhD Graphics, how you doing? Thanks for joining me on Twitch this morning. Right? I was scared of giving up my Monday because it meant, when you literally say no to $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, when you say no to that, for no reason, it's not like you have a conflict, right? At least that wasn't the story that I was telling myself at the time. I was saying, oh my gosh, I don't have another gig. I didn't double book. Why am I saying no to this? But I ultimately was saying no because I was saying yes to me. I was saying yes to growth. I was saying yes to acceleration. I needed a moment. I needed some space. I needed some time to create the strategic focus in business. And here's what happened. The moment that I was able to say no to that and yes to me, the moment that I said yes to that strategic day, I started to see growth. Right? As a matter of fact, I get upset if somebody asks me to do something on my Monday, right? If people ask me to make an exception, I get a little bit cranky. Have you ever found that? Have you ever connected with people who are extremely focused and you interrupt their focus time? They get a little bit cranky with you. Right? They get cranky. And they get cranky not because they're just upset at you, but that they found that there's a progress that they feel and get locked into in that moment of focus and flow. Right? There's some momentum that they find in that space. And so they get a little bit cranky when they get interrupted in that time. And we might get mad at them being cranky, but we admire their focus and their results. And so I changed my operation from operating on every single day to saying, okay, yep, I'm setting aside Monday for strategy. I meet with my mastermind. I may meet with my team, right? I don't have any client meetings. It's a day for personal ideation. Yeah, PhD Graphics said I may get a little bit cranky. Yep, but it's my day. It is, right? So I set aside that Monday for the time to focus on what I want to do, right? Creating my strategy. And so, I did that and I continue to do that to this day. But and here's what happens in that next level though. The more that you dig deeper, the more aware you become of distractions. So I was again reading this book, Deep Work, and in reading that book, it really focused in on, have you ever heard that terminology, instead of going a mile wide, go a mile deep, right? It really focused in on spending time locking in to one area, one specific area. And I found that even with my strategic Mondays, I would do those here. I still do them here in my home office. Right? I still do them here in my home office. But several months ago, I discovered that even when I took time off to do specific work in my home office, I still found distractions. The technology around me was a distraction. My speakers, my microphone, my echo was a distraction. Right? I have TVs. I have all sorts of stuff in my home office studio here, and I found that that was a distraction. So I found that what I had to do was I had to get out of my space. Okay, my Echo, my Alexa's talking to me, right? Exactly. Distraction, right? I found that I had to leave this environment. I had to even change my environment in order to create even more focus, right? And so what I started to do was I literally began to schedule into my calendar what I call deep work days. And those are days where I leave the office. I go to a library and I sit in a study room for several hours and I focus on one thing. One thing. Not a to-do list of things that I'm looking to accomplish, but one thing. Have you ever heard the abbreviation of what focus means? Focus means follow one course until successful. Right? So I had to create space. I had to create space in my life in an intentional way to focus on one thing. And so now, as a part of my calendar, as a part of my time blocks, I've got this space where I'm not in my original or my regular space, but I've created deep work days where I'm outside of this environment and I go to an environment where I've got less distraction. And as a matter of fact, the more that I do that, I might find that there are distractions at the library, and I might find that the internet or having my phone or whatever is a further distraction. So how can I get away even further to do deeper work? Because that deep work is really where you're going to find your results. PhD Graphics is saying the ability to focus without distraction on a cognitively demanding task. Yeah, it can be demanding. Yeah. Yeah, it can be demanding to find that space and find that time. Yeah. Hey, Pamela D, how you doing this morning? Good to see you. All right. So I've got some questions for you. So in my world, what I did was I created some deep work days. But I've got a question for you. Well, several questions. I'm going to ask you 3 questions. Number 1 is, what do you really want? What do you really want? What do you really want to achieve? Do you want to create greater impact? Do you want to create more income? Do you want to create a new project? Do you want to create a new methodology? Do you want to create a new framework? Do you want to create more time and space for yourself and for your family? What is it that you want? Because that's one of the reasons we get distracted so much, is because we don't really have clarity around what we want. So the question for you that you've got to figure out is, what do you really want? And once you figure that out, even if you only have it figured, even if you let me get my words together. Even if you've only figured it out in a small way, even if you don't have 100% clarity on it, once you figure that out, how much closer could you get to that goal if you were to find a way to remove the distractions even for a little while? Right? How much closer could you get to that goal if you were to find a way to remove the distractions even for a little while? I want you to ask yourself that question. And here's question number 3 that I want to ask you this Monday morning. What are you willing to do to achieve the result that you're after? What are you willing to do to achieve the result that you're after? Are you willing to sacrifice certain things? Are you willing to remove distractions? Are you willing? Because here's the thing, we have convinced ourselves that the distractions that we have now are necessary. Right? So the other day, my son decided that he was going to take up riding, and he decided he was going to ride down the street, ride right away from our house. And the first thing that I thought of was, oh my gosh, how will we know where he is? And we asked him, oh, do you have your phone with you? And he had his phone with us. Had his phone with him, and we were looking at the tracker on the phone. And I remember, like, my gosh, we've convinced ourselves that that is necessary, when the truth is, back in the day, when we were riding around in the Bronx, our parents didn't have any idea where we were. We did not have cell phones. We did not have trackers or GPS trackers, right? All we had, maybe if you had a quarter or a dime, there may be a payphone that you could stop and call mommy or daddy if something happened, right? And that's not a good or a bad thing. I'm just saying that there are things that we have now that we've convinced ourselves are necessities, right? We don't want to let go of our phones because how will people get in touch with me? How will they know where I am? We've given our distractions continual access to us. So let's go back to the questions. What do you really want? What do you really want? Question number one. Question number two, how much closer could you get to the goal if you were to find a way to remove the distractions, even for a little while? And then question number three, what are you willing to do to achieve the result that you're after? Right? What are you willing to do? So here's what I want you to do this week. Every week, every Monday morning when we do this, I create some actions for the week. So I've got 2 actions that I want you to look at this week. Action number 1 is, going back to that first question, I want you to take a moment and write down what it is that you want to achieve the most. All right. So if I look back at PhD Graphics, what does PhD Graphics want to create? A documented, distinct description of my people's belief system. Cool. That is deep. That is specific. That is focused. I love it. Right? So your action number 1 for this week, take a moment to write down what it is that you want to achieve the most. And number two thing that I want you to do this week is look at your calendar to see where you can create a space to begin working on that thing. Only that thing. Not 5 things, not 7 things, not 2.5 or 2.7 things. That one thing. Take a moment to see what you want to achieve most, and then look at your calendar to see where you can create some space to achieve that this week. Okay? That's where we are. Well, listen, my friends, our time has come. Our time has come. My goodness. I'm so glad that you joined us here on this here Monday morning for the Monday Mindset Movement. If you are not a part of the Monday Mindset group, then go to MondayMindsetMovement.com. Join us in that group and let's have some conversations about how you can become even 1% better each day. How you can create some focus, how you can create some space, how you can create some growth in your life by focusing on having that Monday mindset every single day. Listen, y'all, today is Monday. And we want to shift our mindset to a place of growth. Yeah. But it doesn't just start and stop on Monday. We want to encourage you to take your Monday mindset into tomorrow and the next day and the next day. Make a choice. Move. Start a movement. Be a movement. Join me next week, Monday at 8 a.m. for the Monday Mindset Movement on Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, and if it's working, Facebook. Who you are, what you think, what you feel, what you do, what you love is the sum of what you focus on. I'll see y'all next week. Peace.